opportunity to, to get together. And any kind of a project internationally that Rotary does will work better when people meet face to face and decide on agreements as to who will do what. The District 6600 in Northwest Ohio has this project of collecting used medical equipment from clinics and hospitals and doctors' offices and storing it and making it available for shipment to places of need. And thanks to the hospitality of people in Chihuahua and the introduction too of Eloisa to the Tarahumara people, I have an ongoing interest in doing something to be helpful to the Tarahumara, and I appreciate the past opportunity to work together with Rotarians. Well, we have a new opportunity to do that, and we're hoping that through the cooperation of Rotarians in Mexico, we'll be able to help to equip some of the rural clinics that are currently underserved. Mesa Medical Equipment and Supplies Abroad will only work Rotary to Rotary. So in order for this project to succeed, we have to have Rotary partners who receive the equipment and help us with the distribution of it. In some cases, they help with the payment of the costs involved with it. And we want to let you know what we have, show you pictures of it, and let the chairman of the Mesa project, Gary Newton, explain it to you, what we have and what we need to do in order to make this project succeed. And so, Gary, I would like to turn it over to you, and Jim, maybe you can help us pull up some of the pictures.
Yeah, I'm going to share with you some photos of our Mesa operations and our Mesa warehouse. And I can tell you this warehouse is located in Fostoria, Ohio, in the heart of District 6600, which is northwestern Ohio. It's a 26,000 square foot warehouse. And this is the first warehouse that Mesa has actually owned. We actually own that. We had always rented space before, so we're very glad to have a centrally located warehouse for us, one that meets our needs size-wise and provides us plenty of storage space for equipment in. I don't see any pictures.
Yeah, Eloisa, you want to?
There we go.
They're coming up.
Okay.
Okay.
We have Eloisa to thank for putting this PowerPoint together. And so thank you, Eloisa.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And I certainly thank her also. There we go. And first off, and you'll see right in the middle of your screen there, a couple people that are on this call. Bob and Jim are there in the middle. So this just gives you an idea of some of the equipment that Mesa handles. You'll see wheelchairs, microscopes, exam tables, scales, all kinds of equipment that we have in our. These are all photos of from our warehouse in Fostoria. So if we can move on to the next slide. Okay, here's some more equipment. You'll see crutches, hospital beds, mattresses, all types of supplies that are in those boxes. Again, scales, IV poles. We have, vast assortment of things. You'll notice in that picture in the lower right, the lower left, there's boxes stacked up there. We try to keep our inventory sorted in gaylords, which are large cardboard containers on pallets. And that also helps us to load the trucks when they come. We'll get a picture of that in just a minute, but we only have 2 hours to load the trucks when they come, or else we incur additional charges. So we try to stage all the items that we can, and we'll have some photos of that, and then load those items. And them being on pallets and in those gaylords increases the speed and efficiency of that loading process quite a bit. So I might say it would also be much easier when you receive these shipments if you had a forklift or a pallet jack, hand-operated pallet jack or a forklift to unload the truck would be a great assistance to you. And we'll see some more of those gaylords, which would be hard to handle without a pallet jack or a forklift. Can we move on to the next slide? Okay, here's one of our Mesa trucks. This is our largest Mesa truck. We have one a little bit smaller than this. This truck does have a lift on the back, so it's great for getting large items into the truck whenever we have things like hospital beds or exam tables or things. Those can be quite heavy. So this helps us load and unload this. We pick up those items from around our district, from hospitals, doctors who are closing their office or remodeling it, hospitals that are remodeling, nursing homes, dentist's office, and some other places. But we pick those up, load those onto our Mesa truck. Sometimes people bring things to the warehouse on their own, which is even better. But generally, we pick up those items, load them onto a truck, and then unload them at the warehouse and sort all those items into our inventory so that when we need to do a shipment, we can find those items quickly and efficiently. Okay, if we can go on to the next slide. Okay, here's our loading ramp. You see that garage door, trucks back up to that. Typically, we send things in intermodal, 40-foot intermodal containers, which go by truck, rail, and sea when we're shipping to ports. This shipment will be a little different. The Mexico shipment could go entirely by truck, and it could go onto a larger truck, larger than 40 feet. So we could even get more items. You'll see these items off to the right side of that ramp. That's our staging area, where we stage the items that are going to be loaded onto the ramp, onto the truck. And we can pick those up with a forklift, drive right up that ramp, load them onto the truck, back down, come back and get more. So it goes pretty quickly when we're loading those. And then off to the extreme left there, those are actually wheelchairs. And then up on that little raised platform are walkers. And typically there's a little bit of space left at between the roof of the truck and our gaylords when we get those in there. And so typically what we do as we load the truck, we fill that up with things like wheelchairs or walkers, just to utilize every inch of space in that shipment. So you know, we're trying to get as much into the shipment as much value as we can. So if we don't want to send a truck out or a container out with 2 feet of empty space at the top. So we fill that up with whatever we can. Often it ends up being wheelchairs and walkers and items like that. Okay, if we can move on to the next slide. Okay, and here you'll see some more items in that staging area. There's incubators, chairs there, and then you see some more of those large cardboard gaylords. And those actually go into the truck just as they are. And so that's where I said it would be beneficial to have some way to unload those on the pallets and get them out of the truck. But we ship. You can see there's exam tables, an incubator, and then there's all kinds of things in those Gaylords that are just better shipped in a container rather than in loose items. When we do have some equipment that needs some packing around it, we typically use clothes in bags, used clothes, which are actually donated to Mesa, and we'll put those in bags and then pack that around the equipment just to buffer the equipment as it's shipped. But basically, we try to pack the trucks as tight as we can, get as much in as we can, and have very little damage, it seems like. Even when these things go by truck and rail and ship, there's very minor damage, if any at all, in these containers. Okay, can we move on? Not being a doctor, I have absolutely no idea what this piece of equipment is, but it's a piece of medical equipment. Hopefully I don't encounter that piece personally, but we do get technical medical equipment. We always try to make sure all those items are in working order. Now we're not medical technicians, so we can't address calibration and things like that. But we don't want to send any equipment that's not working and not in working order. So we will try to see that all the equipment is in working order. If we get equipment that's not, we try to repair it as best we can. But and hopefully we always ask for manuals with any type of electronic equipment or any mechanical equipment. We'll ask for manuals, which they most often have, and so we'll send those along with the equipment. And if we can move on. You might think this kind of looks like an office space in our warehouse. It's really not. Those are all items just stored on shelving. Those are all items that can be shipped including the file cabinets. We get some office equipment, which if doctors or hospitals close their offices, they typically have file cabinets, maybe a desk, some chairs from the waiting room. Oftentimes clinics need those type of items also. So we do have some of those in our inventory. And we would probably fill up those file cabinets with supplies when we ship them. Again, we try to utilize all the space we can. So we try to fill up every inch we can. So, but that's just again, an example of some of the items that we have in our warehouse. Okay, if we can go on to the next one. Again, we see some crutches. Again, there you can see the cardboard Gaylords. We have chairs, just all kinds of things. Anything like, items that are difficult to handle or would create chaos in a shipment, we try to put in a Gaylord. Hospital beds, for example, will shrink wrap those hospital beds into stacks of, 4 or 6 hospital beds. Those will all be shrink wrapped so that they can be picked up with a forklift too, and also put on the truck easily. So we try to make everything so that it'll arrive in good shape, I hope. Okay, if we can go on to the next. And here you see some bassinets and again, mattresses, hospital beds. There's some exam tables and cabinets there also. We typically would have all these items in stock. And there you can see in the very back, there is a hospital bed, I see, sticking up there in the back. And we get quite a few of those also. So our warehouse is pretty well filled up right now. We are making shipments, just made one this past week, I think on Monday. So we are making shipments all the time. It's a constant flow of items coming in and items going out. We don't always, or we never control all that incoming item. So it varies from week to week and month to month. But we always seem to have a good assortment of medical equipment and supplies. Okay, if we can go on to the next slide. And I know, because it says here, I know this is a whirlpool bath. I might have wondered what that was otherwise. But we get all types of things. You know, some of these we don't get on a regular basis, things like whirlpool baths. But you know, occasionally things do come in. You know, incubators and ultrasound machines and whirlpools and things like that are rare, but you know, we do get those occasionally. So we have some of those on hand sometimes, and we try to match the needs. We try not to just give you a truckload full of medical supplies and equipment, but we try to match all those needs with what the individual location really needs. If we can move on to the next one. There you see some hospital beds, actually a refrigerator. There's an exam table, it looks like, or exam chair in between there. So we can get quite a few hospital beds in the shipment, and oftentimes those are items really in need. Some of those may be electrical operated hospital beds, and we also have some that are a hand crank, not requiring electricity. So we get both types. Okay, if we can go on. And there you see some cribs. Again, there's an exam table sitting next to the cribs, and then some gaylords that may have supplies. And then down on the extreme right, there are some more hospital beds. We always tend to have hospital beds, wheelchairs, walkers, you know, mattresses, exam tables. All those things are, you know, seem to be constantly in our inventory. Okay, if we can move on. This again is in our staging area. You can see in the very back, there's that garage door. The ramp is kind of obscured, but all those items there you see in that long line there, all those items will be loaded onto the truck, into the container when it comes. So that's one shipment. Sometimes we have two shipments staged. That's a bay one, and you can see just down there on the floor, bay two is the next one. There's nothing, or that's not fully staged yet for that load, but that one in bay one looks to be pretty a pretty full load there. So all those items you see are on pallets. So we try to load everything on pallets so that we can do it quickly. Okay, if we can move on, I think I'm going to turn this over to Jim Hunt now.
Well, I'm just going to make a quick comment. This is pictures of boxes of all-terrain wheelchairs. And why we take an interest in this is made by one of our own club members, Scott Walters, is the president of this company, Mobility Worldwide. And what's so unique about these are that they can go, well, this would be for children here, but they have regular wheelchairs that would go on all types of terrain that you can be able to use. Also out of Elyria, which was the Rotary Club I was in before I get into Ohio Pathways, is home of Invacare, which is the world's largest manufacturer of wheelchairs. So I know we try to collect those. If we can, in this case, the boxes that you were looking at are brand new wheelchairs that are available. You go ahead.
They can check the site, Jim. They can go ahead and check at the site That's why it's there. If they want to jot it down, or we'll send them to them, they can check the information that's available there and see some videos too, and how they help these little carts help children and adults.
Mhm.
Okay. So in pursuit of sustainability, when Bob and myself were considering this possibility of supporting villages and projects in the Tarahumara, in the Sierra, I remembered, since the possibility exists of equipping some of these clinics in Carichi and maybe Guadalupe Calvo, I remembered I knew a doctor friend. I had a doctor friend from Chihuahua that runs the School of Nursing. And of course, I remember that she would teach Raramuri girls so that they could be nurses or nurses assistants. So I gave her a call. And to my surprise, after I had told her about this possibility, she told me that she was a Rotarian. She's a member of the Chihuahua Majalca Rotary Club, Dr. Erlinda Parada. So then she told me about this wonderful educational health program project that they have, GAS. So that added much more joy, I should say, to this possibility, because we could bring in more relationships and partnerships where we could be able to support more people. So, of course, she did send us the list. So they're considering all of that. So I will go on to the next slide. So we're thinking about strengthening ourselves and our projects through partnerships by complementing strengths that we each have as personal beings, as our clubs be coming together, and of course for implementing expertise, because we can all bring in support and experience and knowledge into this experience. And of course, we can increase the number of beneficiaries as we join and come together and commit ourselves to making the projects a success. So when Bob and I conversed, we talked about this. I had already received some information through an organization named Amigos de la Tarahumara, Friends of Tarahumara, and they have been closely involved and supporting with some projects other than this, and through supplying food in the municipalities of Carichi and Guadalupe. So when we, during our conversations, of course, it just happened that the Carichi major was actually finishing the construction of a building of a rural clinic, and they had other smaller clinics in Bacaburiachi, San Jose, Tehueriche, some other places. And of course, we also had some interest from the mayor of Guadalupe Calvo. Of course, in our conversations with Romaine Wheeler and his clinic up in Retosachi, plus a couple of more in Huachochi and Norogachi. The nuns run a hospital there in Norogachi, and of course, they a long time ago, they had asked me if I knew of any medical equipment, so this was the opportunity. We also have another group of friends from Juarez. They are the Centauros del Norte. They are a nonprofit organization, and they are businessmen and they're bikers. So they had an opportunity to accompany Cesar Chavez, who is one of the members of Amigos, in the delivery of food items to Carichi. And of course, they said they were willing to support and help with the delivery of the equipment in this case. And Amigos de la Tarahumara have also offered to provide warehouse space here in El Paso, and if it were needed in Juarez, and also in so that the items might be transported and delivered in these rural clinics. I should also like to say that the mayors have offered to provide financial resources for the transportation or for the shipping of the items, either from the Ohio warehouse to the port of entry here in El Paso. In my conversations that I had with Erlinda and Vic, they being a non-for-profit organization, also said that they could arrange to work with a broker so that we would be doing all of the crossing correctly and legally. So all of these are support, all of this is support coming in that has been adding. And then Bob told me about Carlos Reynal, and then he called me and he told me about his friend that has the trucking company. So that's a possibility there. So all of this is coming together. Of course, we need to provide the official documents and settle arrangements with the hospitals for receiving the medical equipment and the written reports that Rotary requires in projects of this nature. So this is where we're at. And Bob, if you would like to join me.
Sure. Well, one of the things that we've been discussing, and thank you, Eloisa, for that explanation, and Gary and Jim too. We know that there's a big need in the Sierra, and that the Sierra has clinics in small places all over. So we anticipate that it might be possible for us to have not just an initial project, but a project that continues, so that we try and set up regular shipments into Mexico and in turn into the Sierra to really hopefully improve conditions. So we hope that this explanation may give our friends in Mexico a clearer idea of what we have, what we're willing to do to be helpful, and we need to discuss what role each of the Rotarians or Rotary clubs are willing to accept. Thanks to the work of Eloisa, we do have these other support groups who will pitch in with us. When equipment reaches across the border, there will be equipment on a truck for several different clinics. So there will have to be space provided where it can be, the whole load can be divided into the components that are destined for various places. I know that there are concerns about moving equipment into the Sierra for reasons that we all know. So we're not asking anyone to take on inappropriate risk, but we do feel like it's worthwhile for us to somehow get equipment into the mountains where the Tarahumara and others who live there can have a better quality of healthcare. I think maybe at this point, Eloisa, it would be a good thing for us to ask our friends in Mexico for questions so that we might respond to them. So Carlos, Vito, Pedro, Herlinda, all of you, please share with us what your thoughts are on this project.
Okay, if I may. Okay, if I may, I first like to to thank you guys for bringing this up with us. As you just said, we are in great need of this type of equipment, and we do really appreciate your effort and your driving for this. I have first, I have some questions about the equipment we just saw in the pictures, and maybe they can be answered one at a time. Obviously, mostly or all of the equipment is used. That will take us to do a research on which are the restrictions for importation to do it legally. We are already on that. I just sent Carlos Reinal and Pedro Perez and emailed Eloisa the requirements for importing this type of used equipment to Mexico. One of the requirements is for the equipment to be working properly, and that has to be notarized. We will take care of all that procedures. Anyway, do you guys have any idea what the gaylords contain, or is that just different kind of equipment, or we don't know exactly what they contain?
Gary, you want to respond?
Yes, those gaylords contain a number of different items, just any items that would, before we used gaylords, we had, piles, for example, of crutches in our warehouse, which were hard to move, hard to handle. So any items, if we get absorbent pads, anything like that comes in a package that can be placed in that gaylord, we're going to place it in the gaylord. And that doesn't mean that we would necessarily send an entire gaylord full of one thing. We may take half of the items out of one gaylord, fill the other half with some other item. It's just to facilitate loading, in the loading process and in the unloading process, and to keep those items contained so that you can get them off the truck and onto the truck more easily, rather than piling, for example, crutches into the truck and then having to take each one out one at a time.
Okay.
So those gaylords, I guess in answer to your question, those gaylords that you saw contain many different items.
Okay. So are we going to be able to choose type of equipment that we need, or do you have just load up the truck and send it over?
Eloisa can probably answer that best.
Benito, I would like to say that in this prior communication that we have had with the mayors, and they're asking for equipment, of course, I asked that if they would provide a list of the medical equipment that they need. And then I sent this lists. The lists were translated into English, and they were sent to Gary, and Scott, who's at the warehouse, so that they have an idea of the medical equipment that is needed in these clinics. However, maybe not all of the equipment will be provided in this shipment. It could come in later shipments, but they will work in accordance in regards and very close to the needs that the mayors and the people that are behind these clinics are interested in, or that they need. So there is a list, that has been provided, so they have an idea of what is needed. And in regards to that, they will try to fulfill the petitions.
Okay.
And maybe they will add other equipment, that they think will be of service. Okay.
Okay. Just one last question. I imagine you already have a rundown of the costs for all these shipments to come from all over, from Ohio to El Paso. I think that there will be no problem for us to provide a warehouse and the importation procedures, but the costs from Ohio to El Paso, are they also a thing that we should take care of, or are you guys taking care of this?
Benito,
Lisa?
the mayors from yes, the mayors from Cariti and Guadalupe Calvo, the ones that are leaving their term they did the negotiations. Cesar Chavez did the negotiations with them, and they agreed to pay for the shipment. But now, since they're leaving their terms, the new mayors, they have also been contacted, and they are very grateful, and they are also willing to pay for the shipment from the cost of shipment from Ohio, to El Paso, and then from El Paso to their final destinations. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. I think Victor Gomez Perez is raising his hand.
Yes, thank you very much indeed. Sorry about the delay. I was as well. I strongly believe that Benito already asked the right questions, but as well, I'm quite concerned about the importation of this kind of equipment, because the issue in Mexico is trying to be like a donation, should be from the origin, should be donation, and the import association should be like to be quite comply with the donations and comply with the customs importations in Mexico. That's one of my questions. If you already have already done these kind of things, try to know if the association will be import this kind of equipment, have the permissions to do that in Mexico, and as well as Benito told, we as Club Rotario Chihuahua Jalca, we have these facilities in Chihuahua, in the city of Chihuahua, when you can guys deliver the whole thing, and we can shipment from Chihuahua, the city of Chihuahua. But the main thing is, you already have the whole thing about the importation, the exportation and importation, about the donation, because most of the governments in the mayors probably doesn't have the knowledge about these kind of issues.
Yes, Victor, thank you for your question. And that's a very important one and of major concern to all of us. This is the mayors, we are aware that they are not in a position to do this type of importation. So that is where we would be relying on both of you clubs to maybe come together. And if you have any experience or any knowledge, or if you work with brokers, I do remember when I talked to you and at the meeting that we had, that you did mention that you were authorized to receive donations, and that you do have a relationship with a broker. So this is where we would ask both of you that, if you could come together and once we have the list of what's exactly coming in the shipment, we could send it to you both, and then you could see if you could work that through your
Customs.
brokers.
Yeah, definitely. We can do that. Please send us the whole equipment, because I believe that Benito already asked you about this, the whole thing, the whole list of the equipment. So we can consider by these kind of donations as well. It's a question by my president, which is Arlina, which is attending this meeting as well. You know, Elisa, that the last meeting that we have already a clinic we're improving in Chihuahua City. So we were asking if this will be a possibility that this kind of equipment, instead of going to the Sierra, could be instead and could be installed in our clinic that we're building it as a club. And as well that it will be possible to do that, because I don't know, I do recall that probably we send you our needs of equipment, but we strongly believe there will be a good opportunity as well. So we can have this equipment in our clinic, where we are attending the people that we will attend. It will be Tarahumaras, Pimas, and mestizos, which are these indigenous people.
Yes. Thank you, Vic. Yes, the CAS list was sent together with all the other lists from Cariti, Guadalupe, Recosachi, and Huachochi. They all went together in the same package. So, of course, they are working, and I have asked Scott, who is the manager of the warehouse, to label, the items that are going to be donated to each clinic or to the CAS group or to the nursing school or to other places, so that once it gets to either wherever it's going to be unloaded, you will have an idea that there are specific items that are labeled for each clinic or each group or the CAS. Yes, we have considered that, and of course, you're on the list.
Thank you very much. As complementary information, you can think about it. We can do this. I believe we can. I strongly believe that we can work together with the Club Rotario Campestre, which we can work together. And as well, we can join our efforts, so we can make the import, and as well we can let you guys the facilities into our city, so we can shipment we can separate the equipment, and as well shipment from each destination. We can do that. And as well, we can do it as with photography, with the traceability of all of kind of things as well. We can do that. We're happy to do that.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. If you have any questions, any more questions?
Your mic, Carlos.
Okay, yes. Okay, well, first of all, Vicente was getting in, Mr. Vicente Vivo. He's the president of Club Rotarios Campestre right now, and he's also the director manager for Hospital Star Medica, and he had a code blue right as he was getting into the Zoom meeting. His apologies for not making it, but a code blue is when there is a big accident in Chihuahua and a lot of people come in. So that's what he was attending, okay? His apologies for not being here. Okay, regarding all this project, which we are very thankful for all your efforts and all your presentation, all gathering all this equipment. I think we should divide the scope of the work in three different scenarios or three different stages. One will be the logistics, another one will be the importation or legally crossing the border, and the other one will be the housing and the assortment of all the equipment once it's in Chihuahua, so it can go to the point of destination needed. Okay, in those three terms, regarding the logistics, as I had explained, Mr. Cook and Eloisa, I spoke with my friend Royal Jones, who is the owner of Mesilla Valley Transportation in El Paso, Texas. And right now it's a pretty busy time for the trucking industry in the US because of, how do you call Halloween and then the other one, Thanksgiving and Christmas. So all the big chains, Walmart, all them are getting ready, with this this trucking to get all these products in their warehouses. So he says, it's better for me to give you a good price and have my trucks pick up your all this equipment in 5 days and be in El Paso in 5 days. He has 53-foot dry vans, and he quoted me from El Paso to Ohio to that location, back and forth, $3,500 per load, which is almost his cost. And he also said that he could loan us the trailer so the trailer can cross the border to Juarez, and then we hire a Mexican trucking company that can bring it to Chihuahua, unload it at the warehouse, and return the trailer to Mr. Jones. So if we do that, then that adds $250 more. So totally, we're looking at 37.5, 3,750 per load. Okay, and he can have that, or he can be at your place and come back and be in Juarez in 5 days if we have all the paperwork ready. Okay, that takes us to the second stage, which is the importation and the payment. Like Benito said, it is very important to have a detailed list, which is a bill of lading of everything that is coming with serial numbers and the most information possible, because we need to get it a fracción arancelaria, which is a product code, export product code for every item. Once we have that list and we submit that list to aduanas, to the ¿cómo se dice aduanas? To customs. Once we have that to customs, then we can have a pre-sorted paymento authorized. Okay, once we know what that's going to be, what that's going to run, then we all agree, okay, all this is coming, all this is detailed, and this is what's going to fit on 1, 2, 3, whatever truckloads you guys have. I see that in order to pay the less taxes and tariffs, we need to have a Mexican donataria, a institution that does social work, that it's already registered as a donataria. And I'm on the board for Ruedas para la Humanidad, which is Wheels for Humanity. Alonso Martinez is the owner here in Chihuahua, and we can use his permit to bring all that,
We are an authorized donataria by Hacienda, Carlos. We can do that as
Okay.
a club.
Okay, all right. Well, that will save a lot of money on tariffs. Okay.
And also in procedures, because just putting the name Rotary on all the custom procedures, it eases all the procedures for us.
Okay. Yes, it softens the hearts and it makes things go smoother.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, once that if that is in place, then I mean, I can talk to Mero Soto, and have a truck in Juarez or have a silt, from Juarez or OTI to bring me the load to Chihuahua and try to have it at no cost. Okay, so if Mr. Victor Gomez, if he's got the warehousing, then everything will come to his place, be unloaded, and then sorted for every location. So that's what I foresee. That's what I think needs to happen. I hope if you have any questions, let me know.
That's good, Carlos. Thank you for thinking it through And thank you for all the questions that all of you have. We want to make sure we answer as many of them as we can, or if we can't, we want to find the answers so that we can make this project succeed. If it's going to be a project that's ongoing, the very first project has to be successful, or we won't get to project 2 or 3. So I think we want to, from both sides, do everything we can to guarantee the success of this first load.
Yes, I think that, eliminating all the maneuvers, that having to unload in El Paso and then load again in El Paso and transport to Juarez and come all that, I mean, that's just gonna increase the cost. So if we can have the whole thing door to door, will be very wise.
Agreed. I think we all agree. Well, are there any other questions that you have?
Hello, Eloisa, do you think the whole list that you sent to Mesa is a full load, or there is room for more?
I have been told by Scott that it's almost a full load. Okay, it's almost a full load. But then, of course, then again, he said that he would like to send some more items in December. So we can also be thinking of other places that you might know of, that you might have a special interest, and we could support those clinics and also start sending those lists to Scott so that he can start visualizing and taking care of those. Okay, I will very gladly send the lists that I have received so that you keep that in your documents for your archives, and that, we build on this relationship. And I might make some suggestions along the way, but that is fine. So I'll be so very glad to do that, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You have another, I think Victor has another.
Yeah, I was, no, it's not a question, it's just a comment. Thank you very much, Eloisa, and thank you very much, you guys, to think about Chihuahua as an option. And I think about it, like if you have one truckload, with the old equipment, we can work together with the Chihuahua Campestre to make the options who should be the best options and the cheapest options as well for the transportation, logistics, customs, and as well to depart to make the logistics as well for the final destination. We will thank you very much, you guys, for thinking about us as equipment. And please, we can do that. Please, Eloisa, send us the equipment so we can work together. So we can analyze the customs, the logistics, and the final destinations. Please, we can do that. We will gladly cooperate with all you guys as well, with the Chihuahua Campestre, looking forward the best solutions.
Eloisa, I do have a question. Have you ever had a relationship with clubs in Juarez for this kind of programs?
Not yet. I haven't started any relationships with any clubs in Juarez nor El Paso. I do have them sometime, as we move along, because I think it would be important. But my priority, Bob and myself, as well as Jim and Gary, was to take this first step with you. Because we have worked before with the Campestre Club. We have a relationship, a friend, and a relationship with the Majalca Club. And because yes, Victor, part of our hearts, or in our hearts, there's Tarahumara and the people that live there. So we do have this interest. And I think that it would be convenient sometime maybe for the next shipment
Okay.
you know, to get other clubs involved, because I think it's a very worthy cause. And we could also have their relationships across the border, both from El Paso and from Juarez, and maybe even some from New Mexico, but we'll start with Juarez and El Paso. Did I answer your question? Would you like to comment
Yes,
something
yeah.
about that?
Yes, and I'm going to put this on the table. There's a club in Juarez. It's called the Club Ejecutivo, the executive club. They are right now building a hospital in Juarez City. And my brother is there, it's on the board. And they also do have to have members that work in customs, that are brokers, importers, and transporters. So maybe they would be strategic. And also, maybe it could be like an alliance for the equipment of the hospital that Rotary is building right now in Juarez City. So not as an agreement right now, but it's on the table for you guys to think about it. I think they would be very useful for us also right now.
Benito, I think I might just respond. I think the Rotarians in Ohio trust our Rotary counterparts in Mexico to make sure that equipment goes where it's most needed. And our sole thing is to get it into your hands so that you might be able to do what you do best. And if it's better for you to have other clubs to cooperate, we're fully welcome all that participation.
Thank you.
The thing that's very difficult for us is to move things across the border through customs, because that's really on your side of the border. If we can get it to the border and you can get it across and distribute it, we are very happy about that.
Thank you. Okay. Thanks, Bob.
Más preguntas?
Well, we thank you very much for this. I'm sure we're going to have a next meeting just like this. Maybe there's a slide right now which has the agreements that we will just all discuss. Maybe Eloisa, if you can help us sending us this presentation and the information that you have, and we will be sure to present it to our club next session, which will be next Wednesday. So if you guys can, maybe we can meet again 1 week from today. So we do have now more answers for you and just making the next step. I think we should just set a milestone so we can have reach it in a very defined time for the next weeks or a few months. And I don't know, Victor, how do you think about this from your club?
We will appreciate your cooperation, and please think about us as well as a member of this project. Please think about that. We appreciate very much this cooperation, and as well we can work together as well, as I told you, with the Chihuahua Campestre. And definitely we can work together to make this happen. Thank you very much indeed.
Well, if there are no other questions, I hope that you will go back to your clubs and have this discussion so that you each have the support that's necessary for us to make this project succeed. And then we can get back together after you've met with your clubs, if there may be more questions. In the meantime, we will work to see if we can get the answers as to what is going to be in the first load specifically, with serial numbers and all the information that you need. And we look forward to working together with you as amigos. And some point down the road, we'll have to have a fiesta on the border or north of the border or south or all three. So,
you'll have to go to the Tarahumara region. We'll have to take you to the Tarahumara region there.
Definitely.
Well, I look forward to that.
Thank you guys very much. Thank you,
Look-
Luisa.
Thank you very much, Elisa. Thank you, guys. Looking forward to meet you in person as well.
You bet. We'll look forward to it too. And Eloisa, we'll call another meeting after all the guys have had an opportunity to discuss with their Rotarians. So thanks to one and all, and we'll look forward to seeing you again in the near future.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. Bye-bye.
Appreciate
Thank you to
My-
all
Thank
of
you
you.
my
very much,
appreciation
Eloisa.
and